The Battle of the Misty Mountains, also known as the Battle for Khazad-dûm, was a monumental conflict that unfolded with epic proportions. The Dwarves of Middle-earth, driven by their unyielding resolve to reclaim their ancestral homeland, gathered their forces and set their sights on Khazad-dûm, deep within the Misty Mountains. The Dwarves arrived from Erebor and the Grey Mountains, forging a powerful alliance upon the slopes of the Misty Mountains. They knew that their ultimate goal was to reclaim Khazad-dûm, a once great stronghold of their people. However, they anticipated that an army of orcs, united under the banners of Gundabad, Dol Guldur, and Moria, would march to prevent them from achieving their objective. Understanding the formidable challenge that lay before them, the dwarves took measures to fortify their positions and establish a defensive perimeter. Their forces numbered around 3,000 soldiers, a relatively small army compared to the vast orc legions they were about to face. But the dwarves compensated for their smaller size with a vast selection of artillery and the expectation of reinforcements from their dwarven brethren under the Blue Mountains. As the dwarves prepared their defenses, the armies of Gundabad, Dol Guldur, and Moria marched relentlessly towards the Misty Mountains. These orc forces were led by larger, more ferocious breeds of orcs. The Gundabad orcs, renowned for their hunting prowess, bred and rode Gundabad wargs, adding a fearsome element to their ranks. The orcs of Dol Guldur, originating from Moria, were bigger and stronger than their Morian kin, further augmenting the orc forces. The orcs, numbering approximately 6,000, were supported by a contingent of 12 ofthe armored trolls. These towering beasts possessed great strength and were a formidable threat to the dwarven defenses. Additionally, the forces of Moria, comprising 8,000 orcs and mercenary goblin soldiers, reinforced the armies of Gundabad and Dol Guldur. Though smaller in size compared to their counterparts, the Moria orcs were known for their cunning and ferocity. They were accompanied by 10 cave trolls, slightly smaller but deadly nonetheless. The clash between the dwarves and the orc armies was inevitable. As the orc forces approached, the dwarves unleashed their artillery, firing flammable projectiles that wreaked havoc among the orc ranks. However, the orcs advanced undeterred, their sheer numbers seemingly unstoppable. The dwarves valiantly fired their multi-bolt projectile artillery, targeting the advancing orc legions with lethal precision. The orc legions crashed into the dwarven front lines, accompanied by the fearsome ofthe trolls. The orcs aimed to occupy the dwarves' attention, knowing that the forces of Moria would soon arrive to encircle and overwhelm them. Yet the dwarves, undeterred by the overwhelming odds, stood their ground with unwavering resolve. The dwarves strategically directed their bolt throwers toward the armored trolls, aiming to bring them down one by one. Their heavy hammer units moved swiftly to flank the engaged orcs, striking them from both sides. The dwarves fought with unyielding determination, toppling the trolls and shattering the enemy's ranks. But the dwarves faced a critical juncture in the battle. Though they had managed to eliminate the armored trolls, the forces of Moria were closing in. The dwarves knew they couldn't fight both armies simultaneously. However, just as the situation seemed dire, reinforcements arrived from the west, charging onto the battlefield to aid their brethren. The fresh wave of 3,000 elite dwarven warriors joined the fray, bolstering the dwarven lines and instilling a newfound sense of hope among their ranks. With the arrival of their reinforcements, the dwarves launched a fierce counterattack on the forces of Moria, engaging them on the western front. The clash was intense, but the dwarves showcased their superior combat skills and battle prowess, outclassing the smaller Morian orcs in combat. Meanwhile, on the main line, the orc forces began to waver. Having lost their formidable trolls and with their reinforcements tied down, the orc ranks grew weary and disheartened. Sensing an opportunity, the dwarves intensified their assault, combining relentless artillery fire with disciplined and superior combat tactics. The dwarves gained the upper hand as more Morian orcs were swiftly dealt with, and artillery fire wreaked havoc on their ranks. Witnessing their main force retreating, orcs from Dol Guldur and Gundabad fled, pursued and cut down by the relentless dwarves. On the western front, dwarven reinforcements overwhelmed the Morian orcs, forcing them to retreat. Victory was within reach as the dwarves pressed their advantage, pursuing and eliminating pockets of resistance. As the dust settled, the dwarves stood tall amidst the conquered battlefield. Their victory would be celebrated for generations to come, a testament to their resilience, bravery, and unyielding spirit in the face of overwhelming adversity.